Oh shit, I'm late. Wow, how did that happen? I've always said before, if I'm on time, I'm late. Fuck, if I'm late, something happened. But yeah, guess it took a little longer to walk here than I anticipated. How is everybody? What's happening? Benton here. Hashtag YouTube save my family. You got to get the MUH in there, Mr. Grower. Zuck, indeed, tribe. That's yes, yes, yes. Well said. Jack Dog a lot saved my laugh. What's up, Miss Zinger? Partner. Oh man. Well, and I'll say this, Fraud and Blower. Shout out to Fraud and Blower. I got 5 on it. Policy enforcement cleverly hidden across the street there. You didn't have the. Although some of these folks like to drive vehicles that look just like police vehicles. I mean, who even knows? But I'll have you know, Fraud and Blower, that when I first encountered these so-called truth communities, in fact, I popularized the phrase so-called truth community. Also, the you can't handle the truth community. But I was immediately noticed lots of problems, not necessarily individually, and of course the fine folks that come to this broadcast, certainly don't suffer from this. But yeah, just off the charts, fucking delusion, denial. You're heavily programmed, just in a different way. Lots of paranoia. I can't even get people to email me half the time. Like, hey man, I just would like to. Maybe I need to send somebody a message. Maybe later today this YouTube channel could disappear. I mean, who the hell knows? Can't organize online, but gonna wait for the shit to hit the fan, and everybody's gonna pick a patch of dirt somewhere and come together right now. That's the delusion. That's this shit not gonna happen, partner. Mitchell's only got so much room in his vehicle there. I guess he could scoop up 1 or 2 of you. Even if I was driving an 18-wheeler, unless we empty out the trailer, I don't know how many of y'all gonna fit back there neither. Well, the fraud's never gonna die. In fact, the fraud's only gonna intensify, as we know. And so this whole country's fraudulent. The government's, it's all fraudulent. And all of a sudden, where I'm sitting is the Grand Central Station here. Who are these people? It's 2 in the morning. Okay, well, I'm glad you made it. Yeah. The dumpster diving, that's one place probably not to try to. I don't know. I've never, of all the things I've found in a bin or in a dumpster, I don't think I've seen any. Well, not unused toilet paper, certainly. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Much appreciated. Yeah. Much appreciated. What's up, Mr. Duggan? Chainsaw Roy Duggan in the house. Yeah, I'm as much as I enjoy the comments and the crowd work, I think I'd like to talk about my 36 hours or whatever that ended up being. Always a mistake. Well, I can't even say a mistake. It's always a recovery period from even one night of not sleeping. So I know, intellectually, even if a person only sleeps an hour and a half or 3 hours, that's way better than just no sleep. So I can feel my my hormone levels and all this have certainly been affected, and supposedly sleep deprivation is one of the most effective ways to lower the testosterone. So I'm feeling not quite as motivated as normal, but we will get through it. No, I'm looking forward to meeting Mitchell's cousin Bitchell. So yeah, looking forward to that. The whole gang's here, right? Indeed, indeed. I mean, this is your life, by the way, folks. This is my life, and this is your life. Who could have foreseen that things would turn out like this? Ready Player Benton into a metaverse with this cast of characters. Hey, good to see you, sir. Oh yeah, shout out to Mitchell. Yeah, never quite know. Maybe is Mitchell himself operating all of it? Now that would be the skill, right? If he's actually satiring himself. Yeah, fascinating dynamics. But yeah, good to see you, Mr. Duggan. Just slow down the pace a little bit there. You know, I'm from Arkansas. It takes me a minute to catch up. Yeah, they can't handle the truth. So, and this is one of the things I figured out. I was on another level of things, right, when I found these truth communities, so-called, and so especially that was chalk. That my entree into this was mostly, as far as the YouTube side was, and certainly I'd been on message boards debating, you know, 9/11 truth, by 2005, I'm guessing, and you know, me just clickety fucking 85 words a minute, you know, debating 4 or 5 people on a message board about Building 7 or whatever. So then found Chalk Body Outline through my interest in true crime and Ted Kaczynski and all of this. Found a CBO because I was looking for videos about you know, the Unabomber, also the Zodiac or whatever. It doesn't appear so, but then again, there's probably not a Zodiac. In fact, there's probably not a Unabomber. Most likely that was all government operations, right? Then just pinned on one person. And even going into a lot of these serial killer cases, almost none of that, as far as I can tell, though, whatever the spate of killings, you know, that got associated with Jeffrey Dahmer, or, you know, just pick a famous serial killer, John Wayne Gacy, whoever. I would say almost none of that was done by one person. So now we get into satanic cults and, you know, what is actually happening. But it seems it's quite convenient that there's always this fall guy like a Dahmer or a John Wayne Gacy or whoever. Interesting. So now here I am through the CBO entree into the so-called truth communities, and CBO's, you know, would have described his channel as post-conspiracy. So I'm exposed to some new ideas and some new thinking with respect to conspiracies. And I don't identify as a truther, by the way. I've never called myself a truther. I identify as a conspiracy theorist because I like, among other things, right? I like conspiracies. I think they're interesting. They're entertaining. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm here primarily for my own entertainment, although I am entertained by, you know, thinking about ideas, having intellectual conversations. How bizarre. Hold on. Bicyclist. A nearby bicyclist. What was I saying? That's right, Tribe. And then I want to get into that in a second, but let me finish up on this if I can remember what the fuck I was saying. So one of the first thoughts I had was, okay, we are all talking about how this is inverted world. You know, the men aren't men anymore. Men are destroyed. Fucking the women are head of the, you know, it's a lot of the households are run by women and all of these things. And so more or less everything's inverted. But the one thing that is what it purports to be is the truth community. So clearly that's not a fucking thing, right? That's obvious. So I was one of the first outspoken, ardent critics of the truth community, so-called itself, right? So some of my early traction, other than just going in on the fake pandemic and the max, was just you know, critiquing and criticizing the truth community. So just want that out there. But yeah, Ted is the hero we need today. And in fact, at a certain point in the last several years, a lot of the younger folks I noticed online were starting to take to those ideas. And it's always this thing, well, it's a shame that he, you know, going by the official fiction, it's always this version of, well, it's a shame that he had to, you know, kill people or whatever. It's like, no, that's the only reason anybody read the ideas, folks, other than just some strange people like me that like to read, you know, outlandish or seemingly outlandish or bizarre ideas. No, that's the whole reason. People have forgotten the story. People have forgotten the lore. The public has no memory. It was specifically because of the terrorist acts that, you know, supposedly that's what led to the publication of Industrial Society and Its Future on the front page of the New York Times, right, and other newspapers, as far as I know. And then, you know, eventually the iconic Unabomber the sketch, man. Iconic. And this was actually what I chose for my avatar. So this, in the so-called truth community, this may be changing now, but for quite some time, this would have been associated with yours truly, and still is to some extent. And my podcast, even this channel, still has the Ted Kaczynski / Unabomber, graphics. The banner, my podcast graphic. Shout out to CBO for making the thumbnail for my podcast back in the day. Nightmare Dystopia. Oh, it's Bex in the house. What's up, Bex? Good to see you. And apologies, YCM, if I did not greet you. The chat is lit over here much of the time, so I'm trying to stay out of the chat. Just enough to get a little discourse going, right? Indeed, I am. I am a conspiracy theorist, but it's a tongue-in-cheek, like, because I frequently get people want to say, oh well, the CIA came up with that term, as if I don't know that. It's like, yeah, I'm playing with the concept, like it's a parable, right? It works on many levels. I'm not literally out here with the tinfoil hat, not literally. Meanwhile, as we've said before, the normie, especially the people who think they're MAGA, those are all baby truthers now, and in fact are going to be fucking adolescent. They're coming up on adolescence very quickly, right? That's how much the programming is. That's how rapidly the programming is evolving. Oh yeah, paranoid, certainly. Yeah, oh definitely. And Layla called it. Drew's wife called it years ago about the truthers becoming more and more schizophrenic in their thinking, and we've absolutely seen that. There's no doubt about it. Well, indeed, yeah. This is what I'm talking about here. It's not for me to, because I'm the worst addict of all in a certain way, on a certain level. I can't stop coming on here and running my yap. And I'm so unbalanced that my solution to this would be to just log off and be gone for years, right? And just take it to the streets, and which I would still probably be, uploading various dispatches, or hell, I'd like to just go audio only at a certain point. A year from now, if I'm, on a fucking Obama phone or whatever, with just whatever equipment I have left, after just fending for myself in the streets of America. It might just have to be an icon and the free version of StreamYard, and maybe just put the StreamYard logo up now, right? It's like, yeah, I paid for this, but why not? Where is that? Yeah, why not just rock the StreamYard? Fuck it, it is powered by StreamYard, which what Tribe talks about. Isn't that more or less government operations? Isn't YouTube government operations? It's all what is not government operations. My soul, hopefully, your soul, hopefully, whatever that is, seems to me like pretty much everything outside of this energy sphere, right? Everything outside of this, whatever my arm span is, spherically, pretty much anything outside of that, as far as I can tell, is government operation. Definitely the mentality of these bozos. Am I really going to insert myself back into that? Well, I don't know that I can. As much as I say it's Ready Player Benton, like, what the fuck? Guy's got to take a walk every once in a while. Walking laps around the single room occupancy, fucking 15 by 15 room or whatever size that is. I haven't measured it, with a gigantic bed taking up half the place. I guess if I had an income, I could convince them into disassembling that fucking thing. Maybe rearrange the room a bit. Put some furniture in there, right? Go full on. Just get me a whiteboard with all the red string, right? Making the connections. We'll go full on. What was that? Enemy of the State or whatever with Gene Hackman? Yeah, we'll go all the way, baby. Why not? Why not? Oh, man. See, I don't even know who that is. See, I don't even know who that is, but probably because I can come on here and just talk for 36 fucking hours to some extent. That's probably why I don't know who these people are. I don't know. Good to see you, Look Within. Yep, YouTube saved my life. Shout out to Alphabet Google, YouTube's hell pit. Belly of the Beast style. Here I am in the belly of the beast. It's Groundhog Day version Belly of the Beast, right? Waking up every day in the belly of the beast. and at some point descending the intestines and getting, you know, like a fucking slip and slide through the rectum, damn near killed him, and then getting, you know, shat out the fucking, getting shat out, and only to get back in line again to be eaten by the beast, and then Groundhog Day yet again, waking up in the belly of the beast, right? Good gravy. Well, good. It's well in that if it's a small channel, well then maybe there's some hope, right? Perhaps there's hope after all. Oh, did I not bring a pen? How did this happen, folks? I don't know. This is a disaster. Oh well, such is life. What up, JT? You already been to sleep, haven't you? No, JT likes to stay up late, as I recall. Yeah. Where's my already been to sleep and woke up crew? I feel pretty fucking good overall, I have to say. I want to get into the effects of the 36 hours of streaming at some point, but you know, we got good comments coming in, so might as well cover some of those. Oh, Fish Tank season 2 is about to start. There's a video on my community tab. There, apparently one may invest in Fish Tank, which is Sam Hyde's reality show Metaversely. And for everybody that says it's Big Brother, yeah, if Big Brother had a live chat and if Big Brother was interactive, sure. Other than that, no, nothing like Big Brother. And if Big Brother had a subversive host that would just walk into the Big Brother house anytime he wanted to and just wreak fucking havoc, who was also, you know, a top level comedian and blessed with a healthy heaping dose of IDGAF. In fact, let's do some of that. Hold on. We're going IDGAF. IDGAF. Sounds like some kind of fucking paramilitary group or something, doesn't it? The IDGAF claimed responsibility for the latest act of redacted. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, the IDGAF. Indeed. I think StreamYard, they could give me a discount off my 25. Well, by the way. Y'all are paying for that. So if anybody wants to know what the donations pay for, well, it pays $25 a month for StreamYard. I had to give them $40 down at the T-Mobile to get the home internet. I dropped $80 on the Verizon hotspot data. That's basically, oh, and I forgot that phone. Boy, I'm off my game. I forgot the phone too. Forgot to bring the phone with the $80 hotspot SIM in it. You know, that ended up being worthless because the shit doesn't even work. Yeah, I don't know, man. We'll get into that maybe. I'm trying not to open too many cans of worms. So yeah, maybe a reincarnation here. Remind me if you would. Yeah. I don't know what that means. Some of these. Yeah, that's exactly, JT. That's what typically happens. So, but is it a bedtime if you stay up and watch me, JT? That's no longer a bedtime. And look, do whatever you want, right? I'd rather have a 21 on the screen than a 20, of course, because you know, on some level, you know, this is a glorification of me, right? To some extent, my favorite subject or my favorite person. Yeah, and that's even said a bit tongue in cheek, right? Because there's certainly you know, nobody's that fully in love with themselves, right? And if Talcott is the personification of delusion, denial, narcissism, like who would ever want to be that? You know, I need the fucking feelings of worthlessness and despair at times just to not be Talcott, for fuck's sakes. You know, I'm not going to lean into those feelings, but fucking hey, man, that's you know, those uncomfortable, ugly, you know, however we would characterize despair, hopelessness, worthlessness, yeah, that's required. So what am I going to throw some pills down my gullet? I'm going to gobble some fucking pills down my gullet to avoid that? It's like, no, don't avoid it. Maybe don't maximize it, Benton, but good God, don't flee from the fucking despair, hopelessness, and worthlessness. That's the good stuff that keeps you from being Talcott, partner. Otherwise, we Talcott out here, and that no, sir. Yeah. He was played from day one. he was played from day one, and trying to play with Talcott is played out, as we see Mr. Unslaved referencing. And, I don't know, I'm not even going to get into Paul's commentary with respect to Talcott. However, I spotted that shit more or less day one with Talcott. Now, some of that is I studied my father's psychology just to be able to have a functional relationship, right, with my father, which I consider to be my duty as a son, right? Anyway, I don't want to get into that stuff right now. Oh, good for you. I went to unsubscribe. Oh, also from Paul. Wow. I went to unsubscribe from Talcott and found that I wasn't subscribed in the first place. So I consider that a good sign. I went to here's two channels that I went to. We Are Awake TV and Jack Talcott. I typed one, maybe two comments and got either muted or fucking hidden. Well, I just leave never to return, right? And it's not like I was saying anything too fucking edgy. Oh, and where is it? Can somebody, we need a link to when Drew went on and trolled Ian to his face. That shit was hilarious. Does anybody remember that? It's kind of like when Primal Jihad came on for the first time and trolled me a little bit. It's like, yeah, I was able to play with it because something in me detected that I was being trolled to some extent. But how the hell, Ian just seemed to have no clue that he was being trolled. This is fascinating. Fascinating optics. Oh, dude, yeah, I'm gonna have to dig that up. If I'd managed to bring my pen, I'd make a note. But is this the effects of 36 hours of streaming? I don't know. It's the first time I've managed to get over here without the other phone or the pen or my pen. Who are we talking about? Talcott? I'm just a little bit lost. But I'm sure you're correct there. And you may not mean me. Who the hell knows? But remember, all comments are about me on some level. Woody in the house. Good to see you. And I think maybe, to toot my own horn a little bit, I think some of the folks who enjoy making fake accounts and doing all of this, just make it halfway funny and I'm in. Like, just a little bit of humor with the fucking biting, incisive fucking going in. Just a little bit of humor, right? Doesn't take much. Just make it slightly funny, and I'm in. Right? It's when the humor's removed that I'm like, all right, let's ban 100 accounts, right? So now I get to spend the rest of the broadcast banning accounts. So it's like, well, that's no fun. That's no fun. Or let's play with it, right? The N-word man. Is that what it was? Oh, on Drew's, you mean? Yeah. Anyway, if you know where it is, please feel free to hook me up. And again, now we're back to email. How are people scared of email? Is it because most people have one main email address and it's associated with their accounts or whatever? I mean, what is this? Can we all, and I'm going to make us I guess I need to just make another email. I mean, I have multiple emails, but I mean, can we really not email each other? I'm just confused. And I don't mean you, Yellow Cake Maker. I just mean in general. And then people are like, oh, that's old timey or whatever. It's like, what? That's like calling the web old timey. That's like me saying, hey, man, check out this website. And they're like, HTTP, that's old timey. Yeah, I know it is. What are we talking? TCIP, that's old timey. Motherfucker, the email is the internet. YouTube's not the internet. Email's the internet. I'm talking about the shit that was pretty much here from day one, y'all. Fucking TCIP. Oh, that's old timey. Well, yeah, as far as I know, the internet doesn't work without it, right? Does the internet work without email? I mean, I guess it would, but that would be a very different. Somebody would have to reinvent email to even operate the internet. So I'm sick of this. What is wrong with people? Do better, folks. Email. It's one of the most powerful tools there is. And I don't know if this really happened, but Alex Jones always said that one of the major ways that the Soviet Union fell back in the day, and of course we know that was staged and managed and controlled, certainly, I'm talking official fiction, was that people were able to communicate with fax machines, right? Because maybe that wasn't as strictly monitored as some of the other communications, right? Yeah, I understand that the email is very easy to intercept and all of this. Yeah, I get that, but can a person not type an email without realizing that they're maybe don't type certain words? Meanwhile, how can a person be scared of email and paranoid, and we've all got a fucking smartphone, the most powerful, all-pervasive tool for surveillance of all time, as far as I can tell, and we've merged with it. Effectively everybody here is a cyborg and is merged with the freaking phone. And it's not even a phone, it's a computer, right? The fact that we call a computer a phone just blows my mind to some extent, because I'm from the olden days of the rotary. I almost caught the picking up the receiver and asking whoever that lady was on Andy Griffith to connect me, Clara or whoever, to connect me to such and such across town, and I could probably just walk there. The fact that I'm even picking up the phone. What is this? What even is this? Well, Talcott, there's many things Talcott can't understand. Yeah, well, I mean, we all are, but I did announce at a certain point that as far as I can tell, I'm no longer actively dying. So, and I don't want to defend this too much because, it just gets old and it's not that interesting. But if I perceive that I was actively dying, why wouldn't I talk about that? Meanwhile, if I wanted to actually, I don't know, it doesn't even matter. Folks who can figure it out will figure it out. Folks who can't won't. That's fine. Yeah, thank you, Rachel. Yes. It's a powerful tool. Why would I not use all tools at my disposal? It's just complete insanity. I don't get it. I don't understand. Yeah, Mitchell hurt me. That's right. Yeah. Well, but there's a certain thing going on there as well. So, I don't. Again, I'm trying not to allow certain folks to just completely hijack the broadcast from the live chat, which is a skill, by the way. It's also a skill I possess. I've gone under live streams and more or less hijacked the entire thing from the live chat without even trying, right? So some folks are interesting, and some of their commentary can be irresistible, right? So maybe the broadcaster could figure out how to not be quite as enamored with some of the commentary. Well, there you go. And then email, I may just not reply to an email. It's okay to just not reply, right? And I don't text with people. I'm not interested in this thing of, why didn't you text me back? Or I'm not interested. It's like, what are you talking about? I'm a fucking grown ass. If I don't want to text back, I'm not going to text. What is this? To me, it becomes like, it's like a leash, right? And highly suspect is about the only one who contacts me on a regular basis. And he's either can't figure out email, is that even possible? Or he's just, he's pretending to be incompetent to suit his own purposes. I don't know. And then Big L contacts me through the phone some of the time. And I don't even know that I have his email at all. So now that's my failing, right? At some point. But see, I think this is what makes people paranoid, is I start saying, well, I need to make an email list. Well, like the YouTube app makes the list for us, right? The subscriber list, our history of what we watched. Those lists are fine, right? But this is the predictive programming, by the way. This is the enemy of the state, Gene Hackman predictive programming, which is, if Benton even says, and this is how I can't ever be crazy or insane, because I can observe the thought forms. So if I talk about making a mailing list, now people start thinking of like Steve Buscemi from whichever Adam Sandler movie that was, or was that what it was, where he's checking off his list of who to fucking go after, and then because somebody called him and was nice to him, he like crosses them off the list, Happy Gilmore or whatever, like as if I'm making a list to do something to somebody. It's like, are you kidding me? No, it's a list of people. So when this goes away, as it most likely will at some point, so when this goes away, I'll have a list of my peeps that I can contact, right? Just don't make the mistake of doing CCing everybody, because now people really get pissed off. I've made that mistake before. No, you got to do the BCC, right? The blind carbon copy, so folks can't see each other's email addresses. This is the level of paranoia, folks. This is the level of paranoia. Sounds lovely, Mitchell. Sounds lovely. Or whoever you may be. Yeah. Sounds lovely. Or is that Bitchel? I don't know. I'm losing track. I'm going to need a flow chart. Maybe Flow State will make us a flow chart. By the way, Flow State, best branding since The Situation from Jersey Shore. Well played, sir. Exactly, Tribe. Thank you, Tribe. It's like, yeah, I mean, I'm not suggesting that we use Gopher or FTP, although FTP certainly, I mean, why not have an FTP server somewhere? Just saying. Well, but there is, you know, decentralization through, you know, peer-to-peer or whatever, you know, BitTorrent. You know, we could be doing a lot more to work together. But then I understand that, you know, this is a collection of individuals, myself included, that have a certain, you know, rugged individualism and just going our own way and cutting our own path. Yeah, I get that, but can't I also teach myself to work with other people, right? I mean, can't I just do that anyway, even though don't particularly want to much of the time? You know, what's that got to do with it? Yeah, I'm on exactly. Well, you've got a phone, and that is the list. The phone is the list, by the way. I mean, I'm talking to you through fucking Alphabet, Google, YouTube's Hell Pit servers, right? Hell Pit OS, you know, Hell Pit OS 3.0, right? HPOS. I mean, where's my pen? I hope somebody's writing this down. And what's wrong with the notebook? Again, look at the predictive programming. Look at how many things are now associated with being a literal schizophrenic crazy person, right? You know, what is this? So this is what I talk about with the so-called truth community. The programming works on us also, right? The Mad Max, you know, it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I was in the CBO verse hooping and hollering about the Mad Max fucking shooting war, SHTF. This is the SHTF zombie apocalypse, and nobody's shooting. Only people shooting each other's drug dealers, and then little girls getting killed in drive-bys, which Dick Gregory said is organ harvesting, and I'm inclined to believe him. Right? And I'm a reader of the news, even back to the 80s. How many little black girls have died in drive-bys? It's like that. You can't have a drive-by without a dead little black girl somewhere. It's organ harvesting, right? Probably. I don't fucking know. And then, you know, Highly Suspect, shout out to Highly Suspect, who's more or less convinced that the McDonald's meat is people. I don't fucking know. Maybe it is. Soylent Green is people. How the hell would I know? You know, I can't even hardly eat the food in the first place. I can't even barely eat what people claim is healthy, for fuck's sake. You know, I am going breatharian, I guess. I finally tried the raw eggs yesterday. It's a hell on the digestion, but I think overall it's going to be okay. I'm probably just going yolks though. I did 3. I drank 3 fucking raw eggs. I wasn't quite brave enough to mix them up though, so I swallowed it, you know, whole, fucking Rocky style, one at a time. I would probably, you know, regurgitate, right, if I went full fucking Rocky style. Oh yeah, gay vagrant. Well, you know, gay is an activity, but yeah, indeed, sir, indeed. Yeah, not a cannibal. That's right. Not accountable and not a cannibal. I don't mean you're not accountable. I'm just doing a wordplay thing there. Yeah, well, and then I don't want to get into my issues too much, but I've been coping with some fairly intense constipation for about the last 4 days. So, which ultimately, what is the solution? What is the cure? And I know now that I've said constipation, I'm going to get all sorts of, you know, recommendations in the chat. Please, chat, talk amongst yourself. Don't give me the recommendation, but if you don't mind. But and now just thinking about eggs, raw eggs, I can feel if something's going on in my gallbladder. Interesting how the body works, right? I can feel something happening down there. Because whatever happened to me, my body's now inclined to very thick bile, right? The bile doesn't want to flow properly. Yeah, see where I'm already. But yeah, exactly. Let's please not point it at me. But yeah, fermented food's fantastic. I agree. However, you know, am I really going to eat a $7 bag of kimchi every day? Maybe I am. Make your own. Sure. Yeah. I guess I could in the motel, but I don't know, 36 hours of live streams. I don't know that I have time for fucking, making my own kombucha and, By the way, I love kombucha, and I only call it kombucha because I think it's funny. You know, what do they call that? The mother. I'm gonna have a fucking jar with the mother floating on top in the motel room. I mean, they will come fucking take me away at some point. Come get this motherfucker. He done lost his mind. Because every once in a while they do come in there and sort of make sure I'm not just tearing the place, you know, make sure I'm not doing whatever in there. You know, I don't need that. I don't need them seeing that, right? I need to come across as a halfway normal person, right? Yeah, kimchi will. That's right. Get me kicked out. Well, or I can buy it at the local store. And this is always a bad sign, folks, because they got the Walmart. Some of the Walmart sells the jar of kimchi, the glass jar, for something of a reasonable price. But some Walmarts don't have it. They've got one in a like a plastic tub. Now some of them don't have it at all, but that one in the plastic tub, that's no good. But that's a sign that a person's in the wrong area to some extent when there's not the glass jar of kimchi. But then yeah, I can go to the local fucking, you know, tin box or whatever they call it. You know, the 10 where they add cost plus 10% warehouse or whatever the fuck it is. It's $7, but I mean shit, whatever. Yeah, sauerkraut. Yeah, no. Well, but I'm again playing with the concept of normal. I'm using it in the context. See, this is something Mitchell does that I am critical of. He likes to take a concept. He likes to pretend like I'm not speaking in a particular context, and I do that too to some extent. But yeah. Well, and it doesn't have to be kimchi. I like spicy things, right? But most of the actual sauerkraut at the, and I'm trying, look, eventually I'm going to get off of the Walmart, but it is Arkansas, so it's really not possible to just completely avoid the Walmart. I mean, it's very impractical, but anyway. Well, I have this also. I'm more like I'm more similar to Mitchell than he may realize, or maybe he does realize. I don't know. I have some of this also. So what I would say to Mitchell, if he asked, and he probably wouldn't, is that a person can develop themselves through meditation or whatever you want to call it, various practices to have those tendencies and to get away from them. And then what we see is when I'm cranky and agitated and I'm stressed out and I'm not rested, that's when all my fucking wanting to pick everything apart comes out. My own tyranny, my own authoritarianism, wanting to boss people around, telling Kim he's got to fucking email me or he's not coming back to the, you know, I'm aware of this in the moment. It's like, oh, look at me. Look how tyrannical I'm becoming, right? And again, I'm not giving anybody advice. These are just observations, right? Do with it as you will. But, you know, how do I know these things, right? Yeah, indeed. Exactly. What's up, Carl? And this is one of the reasons why Paul doesn't have the keys here anymore. This is one of the reasons, because I need the person that's the administrator to understand that we don't time Carl out. Even if Carl might go in on me some of the time, that's fine. We don't time him out for it. Now, I might ask him to please not go in on me quite so harshly, but it's up to Carl, right? Because Carl is one of these folks, he will take his ball and go home. If we don't allow him to do what he's doing, he will just fuck off, probably never to return, right? But why Unslaved can't figure this out, I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't care. It's not my problem, though. But it was my problem because I chose to make it my problem. But, you know, I'm not going to choose. I'm trying to have a place where everybody can come here to some extent, right? At least to some portion of the time, right? Even TBE, if he can come up here and be civil, that's great, you know, which he's good on him. He's shown an ability to do that. I fully expect him to take a left turn into whatever that is he does. Meanwhile, I've spiraled for 15 hours before, multiple times. Are you kidding me? Why do you think I'm not on Discord? Why do you think this channel doesn't have a Discord server? Maybe one of y'all will start one. I don't know. I'm not going to be on there, right? Would be a good way for everybody to be in contact if the YouTube channel disappears, wouldn't it? I don't know. Just saying. But yeah, I can't be on there and maintain my mental health. That's for sure. I'm trying to keep the 18 plus off of this, so let's maybe not have that. Are we buffering? Am I here? Is this real, man? Well, by the way, this is not free speech over here. I just want to, for the record, this is not free speech over here. Snafu might talk about Nazi blood, and I know you don't mean me, but You might, I don't know what you mean exactly, Carl, but I'm sure you're on point as always. But I just want to make it clear, I didn't promise anybody free speech. As the person operating the broadcast, that I will absolutely tell people to come back another day, and I will mute them, and then I will unmute them when I get around to it, right? Okay, good. Yeah, I will mute them when I get around to it, unmute them when I get around to it. Yeah, rent free for life in my mind. Yeah, I don't know who's what at this point. And sometimes with the parody accounts, maybe just slow it down by 25%. You see what I mean? Because we've already got a lit live chat. I don't need a whole screen of even if it's Tommy. I don't want to look down and see a whole screen of Tommy. I don't want to look down and see a whole screen of one parody account or two parody accounts talking to each other potentially. I don't fucking know. I'm not smart enough to figure that shit out, thank goodness. I know I've been in a Discord where it was me talking to another person, but that person was using 3 accounts. Like, I will eventually figure this shit out through the pattern recognition. Like, yeah, I'm a little slow to it, but at some point I will figure that out, right? Yeah. Oh, I see. Yeah. But surprise, surprise, I'm perhaps the most adept of whatever this current crop of streamers is in these so-called truth communities at actually using the live chat properly. We're never going to have an expert panel here. We have an expert live chat. Totally different animal, right? And now I understand expert panel is tongue in cheek, but and it's a play on words and all of that. Yeah, I get that, but I also get that probably 25% of the audience is incapable of picking up that nuance, right? And that's probably a conservative estimate. And when I'm in my feelers, I'm also not capable of picking up that nuance, right? Yeah. And but there is, well, I don't even want to get into it, but and then, you know, taking the keys away, that is an acknowledgement on some level that I'm in charge over here. Well, of course I am, clearly, but that's not even, you know, it's not even that I'm in charge. I'm the leader of this channel, right? It's not a power trip. It's like, I'm willing to experiment and do a thing. And by the way, how many subscribers, you know, if we're at 650 subscribers, you know, probably be at 450 if not for Mr. Unslaved. I mean, I recognize that. But if YouTube wasn't artificially keeping a lid on this thing, it'd be over 2K by now. There's no way. It'd absolutely be 2K, right? And shout out to T4 Lovers. Just randomly stumbled across the channel, and he exhibited his excellent taste by falling in love with the channel right off the bat. Good on you, sir. Over in Scotland. We'll introduce him to Monel at a certain point. Just wait till the future when at some point we're going to probably have Monel and T4 Lovers on the panel simultaneously. It'll be fucking Scott on Scott, right? Forget Scagnetti on Scagnetti. We're going to have Scott on Scott, for fuck's sakes, with a single T. Singular T, Scott on Scott. I mean, the possibilities are endless, folks. This is what gets me out of bed in the morning. This is what gets me up off the floor in the morning, right? Well, and this is what we're talking about, Tribe. The truth is manifest. What is living is in flow. This is a living broadcast. This thing grows and evolves and changes necessarily. And that part of that is my job to recognize that and not get locked into something, even if it's locked into Paul Unslaved being the other administrator slot. Because let's not remember, at a certain point, Truther Cop was the first person to have the keys. Then back to Unslaved. Now it's open, right? It might just be whoever can actually use email well enough that I can email them. Because for folks who may not know, the keys works by I have to add a person to the team in the backstage area, and then that person gets an email. So I have to have that person's an email address. I don't have to have their email address. It's associated with their accounts. I have to have an email address for them, right? And then I need to use my discernment and not get tricked, because I understand that people could email me claiming to be another person, right? I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. I'm certainly aware of it. But so I might do it on an ad hoc grassroots basis. Whoever wants to produce today produces. I'd love to be able to just hop in my car and go do my shopping, and somebody else can run the fucking board, right? Who wouldn't? There's so many people who don't ever want to be on camera, who don't ever maybe even type into the chat that much, who are on a computer all day. By the way, shout out to my Hoarder shut-ins. And I've talked about every time I see an episode of Hoarders, there's somebody, in a pile of garbage with there's always a computer there. It's a computer. It's not a phone. I need somebody that's on a computer, right? Not a phone, to run the fucking broadcast, right? To help me run the broadcast. Because I have a life, man, and I'll just stream 24 hours a day at a certain point. Yeah. If a trusted person or group of people can run the shit, I'm probably going to be IRL as early as the 28th of this month, perhaps. I haven't decided yet. It might be to my advantage to ease into, I don't even want to call it homelessness at this point. It's live LARP, IRL live LARP. Why didn't I bring my pen? This is insanity. IRL live LARP. Fuck me. I got to remember this. Yeah. Fucking IRL live LARP. It's not homelessness. It's just, for the budget constraints necessitate that the IRL live LARP be conducted with the LARPer, the broadcaster, being fucking sleeping outside most of the time or in a homeless shelter. Who cares, man? Who cares? What does it matter? Oh, you vote for Gary? I don't know. Gary's, well, maybe. I don't want to get into that right now, but maybe. That was funny about the battery, because I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, folks, for anybody who doesn't know, if you're having battery issues, it's almost always got something to do with the ground. Now, the battery can just be dead, right? But the fact that Mitchell was looking at the positive lead, that's a bad sign, sir. It's almost always the ground. Just so you know, nothing happens till the ground is good. It's the opposite. See how we're in an inverted world? We just assume that, well, of course, it's the positive pole that does everything. No, it's not. It's actually the negative in a way. And I'm not an electrician, but yeah. When they say disconnect the battery, which one do you disconnect? Not the positive. That's probably part of the reason why all the stuff is on the positive pole, right? Because it makes it easier to disconnect the negative, right? Now, again, I'm not an electrician, thank God. Because y'all known any electricians? Those motherfuckers are crazy. I mean, those are insane people. You ever known just a electrician that with a one-man operation works for himself? Those motherfuckers are insane across the board. The electrician I knew in real life fucking got on drugs and killed a drug dealer, and only did like 4 years in prison because of racism, right? Because he killed a black drug dealer. And then his lawyer knew to smear the guy as a drug dealer at the trial. Oh, and so the dude got convicted of like 2nd-degree murder and got out in like 4 years. Yeah. Killed a guy in cold blood, just lured him out in the woods under the pretext of buying drugs from him, fucking executed him, and did 4 years in prison because of racism. And Arkansas is still puritanical enough to just say, well, he's a black guy making his living selling drugs. So, yeah, I guess he should lose his soul or whatever, right? But the white boy, meth head fucking electrician in the jacked up Ford pickup truck, some version of Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite. This dude could throw a fucking football 70 yards, right? Yeah, some kind of just got on fucking roids at a certain point and just blew the fuck up, went from skinny meth head to just, because I was lifting weights getting big, he just decided he wanted a piece of the action and just fucking blew up in like a month and a half. It was crazy to see. Some people just got these just insane genetics. Guy was eating KF fucking C, drinking Mountain Dew, doing roids, and just blew the fuck up in like 6 weeks. It was nuts. I was like, look at this dude. Meanwhile, he was scary when he was normal sized. Like, what the fuck is this? Oh, and his reputation, because I met this guy because he went to high school with one of my best friends who I met in college, an Indian, a Patel, who grew up in Arkansas. And this dude, like, it was just well known. This guy, the electrician, just like banged everybody's old ladies. At a certain point, I'm in a Suburban with the murdering electrician, my former best friend, or my best friend at the time, right? I've had several best friends at the time. Because, yeah, I do, there are some falling outs over time, right? And there's just some random couple that the fucking murdering, the future murdering electrician had just banged this dude's broad. He's one of these guys where it's like, hey, man, you know, I want to hang out with you and bring my woman, but you got to promise not to fuck her. And he's like, no, I can't promise that. You ever known one of them guys? I just know not that. I just know either, well, don't bring your woman around. He might end up banging her. I don't fucking know. He's clearly not going to control himself. And women, let's just face it, they don't control that on some level. Some of them don't anyway. It's not completely up to them. It's just how it is. Now, I'm not saying hashtag not all women, but it's a thing I've observed, right? He was around my woman. As far as I know, it never happened, but you get the point I'm making. If I'm doing what I need to do in the bedroom, probably makes it less likely, right? Maybe the fella who I was in the Suburban with, him and his old lady, maybe he wasn't doing his job. I don't know. See, there's factors in this that you know, there's more to it. It doesn't operate in a vacuum, right? Meanwhile, this guy, it's funny, man. I was working at a call center and met another one of these guys. We were in training, and he's just one of these big, goofy guys that just a lot of women find irresistible. And same situation, this beta boy so we were all kind of hanging out together to some extent. This fucking beta boy was basically like, hey, man, I want to have you over and stuff, but you got to promise not to bang my woman. And he's like, I'm not promising that. Well, at a certain point, like, I'm walking out of the fucking door of the training room, and he's this big fucking just goofy guy. He's coming in, man. He don't want to move out of my way. I just walked right through that motherfucker. I don't give a fuck. Just walked right through him and looked at him. What are you gonna do, partner? You might want to give me fucking half a foot of space there, Bubba. I just went right through him, you know. But meanwhile, probably not going to be banging my old lady. But you think the beta boy operates like that? And it's not, oh, Benton's a tough. It's not even about that. It's about male hierarchies. And then how do we work out these male hierarchies online? So when I end up yelling at somebody, it's probably because I'm ill-equipped with the so-called undiagnosed autism to actually fucking assert myself properly, right? I don't have no problem asserting myself properly. Yeah, I look kind of bad fucking around with that one bozo over here that one morning, but that wasn't too serious either. Like I definitely could have handled that guy quite easily, even at 120, even at $120. Yeah, get your brakes broke, homie. Meanwhile, I'm a pacifist. I'm not looking for no trouble, but I mean, you know, if I feel like I need to assert myself, because this bozo's got all in, he's all feeling some type of way about himself because, you know, some beta boy doesn't understand that he's probably wants the guy to come over and so he can, you know, fucking go through some shame spiral in the corner while this dude's putting in work on his old lady. I don't know. It's never appealed to me. I was a little confused when the whole thing about being a cuck came into the zeitgeist. Now I was aware of it because I'm well read with certain dynamics, right? I've done a lot of research, and I don't mean me out in the field. I mean, I've done a lot of research with reading. All right. Bro, I mean, exactly, man. No kidding. Yeah. Yeah, skinny fat. A fucking 5'8", 140 pounds skinny fat, right? At least I'm not skinny fat, for fuck's sakes. And that's one thing, man, when I really understood that I was losing my muscle, I just made a commitment to myself. I said, I'm not going to be I will not be skinny fat. But then I was here and there, but that was from the drinking, right? Once I got off the booze. But yeah, the skinny can't be skinny. You can be anything but skinny fat. Be actually fat with some muscle on you, but no, it can't be the skinny fat. Mitchell had a little bit of a man boob, I noticed the other day. You might want to look at that, partner. Life's too short to go through it with puppy nipples, folks. And yeah, I've had the puffy nipples before. That's no way to live. Yeah. Yeah, man, exactly. It's I think it's $ Mitchell IQ. I think I got hashtag I got 5 on it. I think that's it, if I remember correctly. I'm still wondering if that's a real Cash App. I'm probably going to send it $5 at a certain point. Why wouldn't I? Oh. There you go, Rachel. Number 2 is grew up on a chicken farm, which apparently was quite traumatic for her, from what I can tell, but oh well. Well, not in the breast area. He's not. I have a little bit of muscle on me still. I mean, not much, but we've seen my arms. Right? I'm pretty sure Mitchell's arm doesn't look like that. But yeah, dude. It's a wrap on Benton's muscle mass, but I still got a little bit left. And then when I was doing those push-ups, when I was still weighed like a $135, you could still see I got a little bit of my back still. There's like a little bit of some back muscles, like a little bit of bulk there, not a lot, from left over from the weightlifting days. But then, if anybody remembers from the slideshow, that one where I was standing out in a campground, looking at the fire that I was building. You could just see like there was almost like it looked like I was wearing a vest almost. You just this big mass of fucking back muscles, right? Upper back muscles. That shit's all gone. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. My lats are gone. Got a little bit of a lat, a little bit of a lower chest. That's it, man. It's gone. Yeah. Well, yeah, sure. It's two-way. I suppose fantasy's a two-way street, right? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Thank God it's mostly the female form when I'm needing to imagine something, right? Thankfully, I said mostly. Oh man, I don't even know what you mean by that, but that's pretty funny. Is that a Adam's apple joke? I don't know. Thank God. Shout out to Benton's Adam's apple. Yeah, that can be a problem. Although, at some point, especially if I'm drinking out of 1 gallon water jugs, at a certain point, every trucker's I'm assuming just, is in a groggy, unrested state and just accidentally takes a swig of the old Piznog. It's pretty easy to spit it back in. But yeah, it is getting kind of weird. I agree, Tribe. Tribe, by the way, Tribe, this comes back to something I've talked about. And yeah, the numbers are down slightly on the recent weirdness. So, and I think this goes down to something I've researched, which I think is true, which is, the whole left-right paradigm. It really does break down based on the people who identify more with right-wing Republican. And I understand that intellectually, Tribe knows it's all a bunch of bullshit. But the people who are predisposed to going more towards the right wing and the Republican, they have it's easier to trigger their disgust. They're more easily disgusted, whereas the folks who tend to go more left wing or so-called liberal or Democrat, it's whatever they can tolerate without becoming disgusted. It's not as strong, right? So I don't think it's a surprise that if you made me choose, I'm choosing liberal and left wing. If you made me choose, I'm not dumb enough to choose between the two, right? And I certainly line up with the right wing in many aspects, and I line up with the left wing in many aspects. There's no way. To me, that's a crazy person who actually just fully lines up with one or the other. That's a crazy person. Literal crazy person. Yeah, artificial lines of division. Exactly. Yeah, there we go. $ Mitchell IQ. That's 2 L's, by the way. And yeah, Mitchell Lick. If we all donate, he'll hit a lick. All right. So we can get Word Wizard in here to break down this, right? Word Wizard can come break this down. Okay, good. I will do something for the non-victims when it gets to 1,000. It's over 500 now. Okay, cool, man. Glad to hear it. Full disclosure, right? And then Wizard, man, I like listening to Wizard. I like what Wizard brings to the broadcast, but man, I just don't have the energy to wrangle him necessarily. And then it's like, at a certain point, if he's just talking and I'm just sitting here, it's like, okay, maybe I'll bring him up. I might just bring him up for breaks from now on. It's like, all right, Word Wizard's here. It's break time. I'll see you later. Like I feel bad doing that to people because I know there is some version of they want to talk to me, but it's like, all right, man, I see that you can talk, so I'm gonna go do a few things. I'll be back in 20 to 30. Peace out. All right, that's the whole thing. Same thing with like Dick, maybe Notch. It's like, oh, here's Notch. That's great, man. I'd love to talk to you, but let's chop it up for 10 minutes, and then here's Freedom Grower. All right, break time. I agree, Tribe. I agree. And I fell for it too. And yeah, at that time, I was too gullible to participate in liberty. Well, AKA that was peak level of Benton participating in the corporate slavery, right? I was a corporate slave, certainly at the time, at 100%. And I did 10 straight years almost. I did almost a decade of not being a corporate slave. Although I certainly was at the level of my paperwork. I may never remove my paperwork from the corporate slave system. I don't know. Clearly I haven't fully committed to it because I haven't done anything about it. And that's what I told Highly Suspect. I said, I got step 1 written down in a notebook. Until I actually do something about step 1, like, what are we even talking about? I'm the best you got. Well, yeah. That's a bad sign, right? Mitchell, in some ways, Mitchell is the best we've got. So that, yeah, I think I will say this, man, these so-called truth communities do seem to operate from a notion of like, we're awesome, collectively because we've figured some shit out and we've woken up, right? No, man, what we're talking about is dysfunctional, ineffectual people, right? And that's a great word, ineffectual. We're looking at a lot of people who in their daily lives are ineffectual. That's fine. I don't look down on anybody that's ineffectual, but when I talk about that I am that I have a lot of optimism, I believe in the transcendent potential of an individual, right? So a person who's practicing being ineffectual, they have the power to change that by disciplining their mind first. Discipline always starts with the mind, and then again we can get into Kybalion, and everything is mind, right? Yeah, sure, but it doesn't seem that way, And Liberator herself, was she in here? I thought I saw her earlier, but maybe I'm hallucinating. But yeah, see, I need everything she says and types is stuff I need to hear, right? I'm not trying to get to the level of a debate with Leslie's eye. It's not even about that. Like, yeah, feel free to try to pick apart what she's saying down there. Meanwhile, good luck. But, that's the stuff I need to be reminded of. Yeah, I've watched multiple 7-hour David Icke presentations. Sure, I have. But it's not the same as having somebody who can, in real time, type some shit at me or come up here and talk, right? It's a different thing. They say that something about, I don't know if this really happened, but, the idea that Alexander the Great was he was so, enamored, and this is my perception of a thing that may be apocryphal, that he was so just enamored with himself that he more or less had his consigliere there, who was probably a female, right? That was the person who was with him all the time to just whisper in his ear, "You're just a man. You're just a man. You're just a man." Because otherwise, he just spirals off into just complete and fucking 10 out of 10 megalomania, presumably. So, yeah, I need some version of, it's a hologram. It's a hologram. It's a hologram. This isn't real. It's not real. It's not real. It's a hologram. Yeah, I might need some version of that. Yeah, I can remind myself here and there, but I might need some version of that, perhaps. Now that's a properly constructed joke. I don't know who did that, but that's a joke writer right there. Holy shit. Oh, let's just pause long enough to just see the glory of what's been crafted there. I'm sort of, I don't even want to read it again yet. I'm just letting it wash over me. I'm letting the joke fucking, laugh me on some level, if that even makes sense. Now, maybe the AI wrote that, right? I don't even care at this point. Maybe that's Moose with the AI. I don't know, man. If AI is writing comedy at that level, we're in trouble, folks. Well, we're already in trouble. This is what further sign of the apocalypse? Is that the level of the AI joke writing? Because there's some fairly obvious elements in there, but again, Carrot Top is funny. The fact that I'm laughing proves that he's funny. It's not. I don't need to go into other parts of my brain to just am I laughing? Yes. Okay. Now I didn't laugh out loud, but pretty close. Yeah, the world's first Talcott. Well, if we're talking Alexander the Great, yeah, it would be Talcott plus highly effective in the real world. you know, and I'm, maybe we have highly suspect. I'm highly effective, right? That's maybe everybody could have maybe that's the theme of this channel, right? It's not a cult over here, but the cult name is highly whatever, right? I'm highly effective, okay? Or I have been in my life. And you can even go fake it till you make it, folks. Highly whatever you want to be. Why not? It's a metaverse. Do as not do as thou wilt, right? But you can sort of do whatever you want to some extent, right? Nice. I will say that if that was the video that Mitchell was recommending, that one that OTW played with all the Obama stuff, that's a bad sign. If that's what the type of videos Mitchell's responding to, it's not a good sign for you, Mitchell. That's fucking hot garbage. Whatever that was about the 10-4. I'm hoping that was something OTW found, because that was trash. I don't know what to tell you. That was some shit I might have been enamored with 10 years ago. I might have been interested in that. Like, what the fuck? What even was that? If anybody saw that. Yeah, Alexander the Talcott. Yeah. Well, except if Alexander the Great was actually some version of Mr. Magoo, just out here fucking somehow averting disaster at every turn. Yeah. While somehow having a channel and, a broadcast that people actually go to some extent. Like it or not, the Alexander the Great would be Paul, right? I mean, that's our champion. Like it or not, that's our champion. Sorry about your luck. If folks don't like him, that's our champion. It's just how it is. I don't know what to tell you. I might be a war chief, but I ain't the champion. He's not the champion, because I ain't 34 anymore. I'm 48. So I think that's really what happened with Z and the whole I'm wanting to be Paul's beta. He's just too fucking old to be the champion, right? And a little too much of a beta boy. Let's call it what it is. I don't even like the term beta boy. But meanwhile, if it actually is repressed homosexuality, that's not really a beta boy now, is it? Think about it. It's like it's a pseudo beta boy via repressed homosexuality. Interesting. Interesting. Well, I don't even let's not even get into the members, right? The member talk down there. I'm not even getting into it, but I will say there are some, from a man who maybe visits the toilet in the middle of the night and has to urinate in a specific type of condition. There are some benefits to losing this much weight, right? That's one of the few upsides, as it were, to losing all this weight. Anyway, Gamma Soy Boy, yeah, Yo Gamma. Well, I'm an alpha, but only when I have to be. I don't want to be you think I want to be in charge? Are you kidding me? I don't want to be in charge. Alpha is just, that's like a transitory state as far as I'm concerned, whatever that is. Meanwhile, if you actually look at psychology, beta is not a bad thing. That's next in line, right? It's not so bad in the hierarchy. We've actually changed the meaning of all this. Never have, never will. Some folks will never believe that, but not once. Hashtag not even once. And I'm proud of that. But then, see, I used to really allow my image of myself to get sort of pumped up because I've never done certain drugs. But let's just call it what it is. A cult brainwashed me not to do drugs. They did not brainwash me not to do alcohol. So that was the first drug I ever took, was alcohol. Other than ephedrine, whoever looked old enough used to go buy the cross tops at the truck stop, right? And the tablet form of, not pseudo, baby, the just straight up ephedrine, powdered ephedrine. Thank God we didn't know to snort it. That's all I can say. I don't know that I would have snorted it, but I certainly ate a lot of it at times, sitting there in class with the fucking and the labored breathing. Well, fun times, right? Meanwhile, that's the last thing I needed was stimulants. I don't have ADD, so it certainly didn't calm me down like some folks. Somehow I could always sit in the desk, though. I just brain. mind controlled by a cult. I could just always sit in the fucking, I could always sit in the chair somehow. There you go. Good deal. Well, that's a good point. That's a good point, Woody. I think you understand where I was coming from, but well, I mean, Alex, really Alex Jones. If we're going truther, I mean, let's be serious. Wrote because well, and but there, I guess it would. I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not willing to. That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one. Well, it also shows some of my analogies don't really work. You know, maybe that is that what you're trying to point out? That my analogy really is a broken analogy, perhaps in this context. Maybe that's what you're talking about. Yeah. I like that. Trav says that Paul's like a bus driver piloting a plane, and no one seems to know. Yeah, it's interesting, man. Well, and what do we see when, you know, I can't speak for Paul, obviously, and I wouldn't, but, you know, I can talk about observing his broadcast, and then what I see is that, you know, he's stepped his, and not that he fell off, because he certainly hasn't fallen off. What I'm saying is it's a very different Paul when he, from my perspective, it seemed like what I saw in yesterday's broadcast is somebody who believes that it's a proper time to assert himself. And generally speaking, that is going to express through some level of dominance, I assume, right? I know that's how it works with me, right? Assertion through dominance in a way, but assertion via dominance, at least in the short term. But I think that's good for all of us, right? Maybe a little bit of competition is healthy, and I wouldn't even consider what I'm doing competition. But if I'm live in the same time slot and now Bex comes on and we are just too interesting, then yeah, it will affect his numbers. That's just a fact. He can say this till he's blue in the face with other content creators. That yeah, well, I'll just you know, yeah, you can go live when I'm live, but I'll just crank it up, and you know, eventually they'll be talking to 10 or 15 people. Yeah, maybe that's true with a lot of these folks, but I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure me and Bex could keep 40 under the right circumstances, but you know, I don't view it as a 40 to 45. I don't view it as a, especially at the start of his show. Now, by the end, he'll probably have them all back, but which is fine. I like a little healthy competition, but I don't view myself as any competitor for Paul, right? But I will say this, I will be able to give him a run for his money with the power dynamics if I want to, but I'm 40-8, man. I'm not putting the energy into the power dynamics. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I got to have a quality of life here, right? I mean, what's the point of putting a lot of my energy into fighting somebody maybe to a draw, maybe, right? Oh, the fucking stars align and everything goes perfect, and I fight him to a fucking draw. What's the point? Like, I don't even see it. Yeah, and I like a little bit of you know, meanwhile, I have no reason to do that, but I think at some level of a person feeling like they're being challenged or pushed in a way, I respond to it. You know, I'll be goofy and fucking lay back in the cut, right? But right up until I feel like I need to assert myself, and it's like, whoa, Benton, look at this. He really is powerful. Yeah, I know I am. So is everybody if they tap into it. I'm tapped into my power. So what? People who know me, if they describe me in one word, it would be strong. That's what I am, man. I come across as a very strong person. Yeah. So what? Doesn't mean other people are weak. Now, if they're choosing to express weakly, that part of strength is just a damn near obsessive refusal to express in a weak way, which is, by the way, our lifestyles are so comfortable in America, that makes us weak. Just sitting around this motel room has made me weak in a way. It's made me less strong than I would be. Here we go. Now the attraction to homelessness or IRL live LARP. That's the opposite. That makes me stronger. It makes me more of what I am if I'm properly managing the negative aspects, if I'm getting proper rest, right? If. Well, yeah, we saw it with Tommy when he came over here coming at me about the cult stuff. That was just mean-spirited and just shitty. It was mean-spirited and shitty. And it's just a lack of morality. And one of the reasons why me and Tommy probably have never fully teamed up and became because that would be a force right there, me and Tom together. However, his lack of moral fiber, his lack of moral character. And I was talking to Truther Cop the other day about when I was on the Joe Rogan Experience message board and I blew up on there. See, somebody can hear me in there. Well, actually, I think they yelled at that car that went by. There's some meth heads across the street. But presumably, I mean, pretty much everybody out here on foot's a meth head at this time of morning. But what was I saying? Somebody tell me what I was talking about real quick, please. We're going to wrap this up soon because I need a couple of minutes before the next broadcast. Well, that's a good point. Well, here's what's interesting. Look within. I don't have the full DID, meaning dissociative identity disorder. And I don't think Tommy does either. Mitchell, perhaps, but I think I might have just discovered a homeless camp, unless they're just back there dumpster diving. It's funny, as bad as my vision has gotten, I can see fucking forever, man. My distance vision is off the fucking charts. Even my night distance vision. All I need is just the slightest hint of a human movement, even at nighttime, and I detect them. I saw some people they're way back there now, and I can still see them moving around. And I got very little correction on my distance. Yeah, they're just dumpster diving probably. I thought maybe that was they were going to a camp, homeless camp. Oh, teaming up with Tommy. Yeah, it's like, so I found some of the evidence of my exploits, which appear to be back in 2012, since Truther Cop was asking when. And I was suffering from a lack of moral character at the time. I ended up doing some things that demonstrated that I was not of a strong moral character at the time. And I know that I've worked on myself in those regards. And I do consider myself a person of, I don't know, I would say high moral character, but enough, right? And certainly working on it. But yeah, occasionally I do things that I look back and I'm like, yeah, that was less than moral, right? But then we also have Paul, who portrays himself as the personification of morals, right? I mean, he really does. Let's just call it what it is. Well, I don't think that he is that. I'm sure he is at times, but this is still a flawed human being, regardless. So, and I think that that does explain some of the people who feel the need to go in on him, also, which is also Tommy, right? So Tommy, on some level, has to understand that he's suffering from a lack of morality. And then, of course, Tom is powerfully attracted to the destruction of a being who has the audacity to more or less at least attempt to personify morality itself, right? While probably having the intellect to understand that he's going to fall short, while also playing with the concept, probably in part to get donations. Let's just call it what it is, right? The fact is, folks are more likely to donate if they perceive that it's an actual cause or an actual movement they're donating to. I'm not. I don't want to be seen as spearheading a movement. I don't even want to be seen as participating in a movement. In fact, I partially came up with this idea of the truth movement being to be in the belly of the beast, to descend the intestines through the colon, shat out the rectum, damn near killed them. And then shout out to Patrice O'Neill, who said one can always get back into the mouth to be eaten, get in line to get eaten by the beast yet again, which is the Groundhog Day. It's the truth or Groundhog Day, as far as I can tell. And I hope I remember all this to write. I got to write all this down. I'm just losing my fucking mind that I didn't bring a pen to write all this down. So anyway, I don't know. I guess I can always go back and watch this. Now the disciplining of my mind, I'm so busy at the level of effectiveness in the real world or in the meta, being the content I want to see in the meta, that here I am, can't even make the time to watch something. I guess I'll have to Scagnetti on Scagnetti it. Thank you. Exactly. Thank you. Yeah, that's my character flaw. Yeah, that's one of my character flaws. Yeah, the disdain that I communicate. But in understanding, this is where highly suspect doesn't want to accept that the intention doesn't matter. Highly suspect. I have my intention when I communicate with him is rooted in a strong desire to see him succeed, as I know he has the ability to, but success through resolving the issues he is experiencing in his internal space. And I have done this within myself, although not fully, because what we see is my flaws of character, the just disdain and there's a proper term for how I treat him in those moments, condescension and other negative terms. And I can't hide it. Part of my authenticity is when I communicate with him, I can't hide it. Then part of it is his patterns are based on him participating in his own abuse cycle, meaning him doubling down it makes me become more of what I am at the level of my own forcefulness. And now I'm actually being more demeaning to him, which he needs for some reason based on his own patterns. You think I don't know all this? Meanwhile, back to lay expert in human psychology, right? As much as I know all of this, I have yet to fully master myself. If I live long enough, I will master all of this. I will master my emotions. I will master this being talking to you, known as Benton, the ascetic yogi, the techno-ascetic yogi monk, most likely renunciate. And the techno monk can renounce everything but the garment, the beggar's bowl, and the tech itself. Thanks for watching. Bye.